Again, thank you all for coming out. As the chairperson of the Alleghany Highlands Democratic Committee, it is my honor and privilege to get to host this forum for our local candidates. We invited everyone who's going to appear on your ballot who represents either Covington or Alleghany or both to this forum. We are very thankful that both sheriff's candidates and Mr. Rusmisel agreed to come and speak tonight. And we all have a spot back in there for the table where they're able to put out their campaign information and all that. Also, several presidential candidates had their folks come out, including the, I believe they call them the Yang Gang, and the Bernie Sanders campaign. So back there is some information on those candidates, as well as petitions to get them on the ballot in Virginia. It is amazing to me, actually, after attending a couple of these forums for local candidates, how many folks here decide to come out. As somebody who's interested in politics, it really does make my heart glad to see so many people who are really taking this election seriously. So many people get focused on the presidential or Congress and all that and forget about the local elections, when in reality it's the local folks who are really impacting your life day to day. So I know all of y'all came not to hear me speak, but to hear from our candidates, so I'll keep this quick introduction. Our first candidate tonight is running for the Treasurer's Office in Alleghany County. If y'all would please help me welcome Mr. Rusmisel.
I got time, but you can still let me know. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Having the opportunity to address the citizens of Alleghany County, and of course I know some city residents here as well, is an honor and a privilege for any of us to be able to gather together. And when we talk about our local elections, our state elections, our national elections, to take a part in the franchise that so many people worked and fought so hard for, it's an important part of your civic responsibility. And I appreciate you taking the interest in coming out. I do thank you for that. As Mr. Short said, I am running for treasurer of Alleghany County. Some of you may know who I am, and some of you may not. What I'd like to do today is talk with you a little bit. I'm told I only have 35 minutes.
Keep it under 40.
Under 40 minutes. So I've got 3 songs. I'll have to cut one, I guess. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself, who I am, a little bit about my qualifications, why I think that I'm qualified to be able to be your treasurer, and lastly about my motivation, why it is that I'd even want to do something like this. A number of people ask me that. Why are you thinking about it? But firstly, talk a little bit about myself. My wife and I moved here in 1994. I actually grew up in Northern Virginia, in Alexandria, Virginia. My father was an executive with Southern Railway, and we moved to Roanoke when I was a junior in high school. I was a Boy Scout, a member of my church, and learned from an early age that your community is largely what you make of it, largely what you do, either to make your life good in it or to make it good for your life. My parents instilled that in me, and from a young age. And even when we, up in Northern Virginia, where you're basically just a pea in a pod that's pretty darn big, sometimes a pebble of sand on the beach, you can have an impact. I learned that through Boy Scouts and through my church. And then moving to Roanoke, where with the merger of the railroads was the biggest thing to happen in Roanoke in many years, we certainly felt like we had an impact. And our movement and everybody that ended up moving to that town had an impact. I met my wife there, so Roanoke holds a special place in my heart. But she and I moved here after getting married in '94, in November of '94. I came here with First Union Bank. I'd been with Dominion Bank, and First Union had come into Roanoke, bought that bank up. I'd been hired by Dominion after graduating from Virginia Tech. And moving up here, to be candid, I was a city boy. My intention was to come up here, manage the bank for First Union, which at the time was the largest bank in the community. Work here a couple years, make my mark with the bank, and go anywhere the bank would let me go. My wife and I started a family here, though. We had our first son in 96, our second in 97, our third in 2000, our fourth in 2005. I'm doing all I can to increase the population here in Alleghany County. But we made a home here. We found that what this community offered and what we can offer it was important to our lives and was important with the way we wanted to live our life. It's nice to be in a big beach and just be a pebble of sand on that beach. But it's also nice to know that you're a little bit more than a pebble, that you have a part, and you can be a part. Since moving here, I've managed a bank, but managing a bank is just a job. But I've been involved with a lot of different things. I've volunteered where I could. I've been the president of the Greater Alleghany United Fund a couple times. Served on the board of the local March of Dimes. Served on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. Been in several community organizations, but it's always been important to me, and I'm currently a member of Temple Baptist Church, as my whole family is, but it's been important to me to be a part of this community, to be a part of where I live. So it tells you a little bit about who I am. I hope it gives you a feel for what's important to me. The second thing is why do I think I'm qualified to be treasurer of Alleghany County? You may or may not know the job of the treasurer is to collect the funds due to the county and the state and then remit it to where it should be placed. Sometimes that's in a bank account locally to be utilized by our local community as directed by the Board of Supervisors. Sometimes it's remitting it to the state. Sometimes it's keeping it on hand for rainy day funds and managing it properly to get the best return for the citizenry. Now, that sounds very familiar to me because managing a bank, which I did for many years, all you do is take money in, put it where it's supposed to be, whether it's in an individual's account, a payment to their loan or line of credit, or passing it through to another payee, whether it's their electric bill or their water bill, and making sure that that's done in a timely manner, an efficient manner, and as comfortable and easy for the client as it can be. Now, if you're in banking or any kind of service industry, I can tell you this: if you don't do a good job of what you're doing, you won't be doing that job for long. And you won't be doing that job long for the clients that you're doing it for, because they will not tolerate, as you will not tolerate, poor service. After managing banks, I became a financial advisor. Of course, I was a financial advisor when I came here. I started out my career as a bond trader before becoming a banker. And as a financial advisor, what I do primarily is help clients, small businesses, individuals manage their investments, help them reach their financial goals by proper asset management, determining what risks make sense and what risks don't make sense. Now, the state of Virginia, for every treasurer around the state, already determines what the investment strategy is. There's limitations on what a treasurer can do. But there's limitations, but still allowances for the treasurer to utilize the assets of the county to achieve the highest returns possible. There's also opportunities for the treasurer to utilize and leverage banking relationships to get services to the community as efficiently and as easily as possible, and of course as low cost as possible. Which brings to the third step, the third point. Why do I think I can do something for the community as treasurer of Alleghany County? In banking, primarily what you do is the simple things: checking, savings, and investment. But if you're not doing the innovative things, keeping up with the times, providing online access, online bill pay, online availability for just seeing transactions history, you will not maintain your position in the community as banks, and you probably will not remain a banker. Unfortunately, I've seen our community somewhat lag behind on the technology side. I find it interesting that as you drive down 64, you'll pass signs that say, you are entering Virginia's technology corridor. It hardens me to know that somebody considers us a technology corridor, but it disheartens me if I go to the Alleghany County website for any services, but especially for Treasury services, that there aren't comprehensive services available online. There's no reason in 2019, and God forbid 2020, that you can't pull up on your website, on your computer, or on your smartphone what your water bill is and make that payment so that you don't have to drive it down in case you forgot to mail it and you don't want to get your water cut off. And there's no reason why you should have to call and get a 3% service charge on top of that bill. If we have banking relationships with banks, we should be leveraging them and making sure that our constituents are not having to pay large fees in order to process things. We should be able to have an e-check possibility check through. If you visit the websites of counties around our community, you'll see that they already offer these types of things. It's not out of the realm of thinking or possibility that Alleghany shouldn't be offering the same thing. Now, I have to say, with what the treasurers have done in the past and the way the office is currently being run, I can't have a complaint with their efficiency, with their accuracy of collecting funds, putting them where they should be, and sending them out where they should be. What I do have problems with is that we're not keeping pace. We're not innovating and providing services to our constituents. And I can't sit on the sideline and complain about something I'm not willing to step forward and say, all right, I'll shoulder the burden. I'll take the slings and arrows of whoever may throw them to try to provide something for my community that I think we should already have. And that's the reason I'm running. When people ask me, that's the reason. You know, when Dominion Bank, first bank that hired me, I was a bond trader, was purchased by First Union Bank. A lot of the brokers in the office decided to leave. They didn't like what may be happening with the change in ownership of the bank. They had done their business one way, some had done it another way, and they thought, well, gosh, this new big bank is going to change the way we do business. And one of the brokers I worked with said at that time, you know, you vote with your feet or you vote with your butt. You either stay or you go. Well, I've got to vote in what happens in our community. Now, when I go to the ballot box, it's only one. But if I'm able to become your treasurer, I'll be able to talk and use your votes to make things better for everybody. And I can either be silent about it and say, yeah, we're just Alleghany County. We don't deserve the technology. 10 minutes are up. Technology. Or I can stick my neck out and say, you know something? If you vote for me, I'm going to work my darndest to make sure that you have the services and the accessibility, the efficiency that you deserve, and which should be available to you and can be at no additional cost. I appreciate your time. I thought I'd have to leave, but I'll probably stay since we've not so many people talking. Thank you.